just wanted to do a quick little video. I had a couple questions about number 2 on the normal distribution calculations practice. So what we have here is we have this scenario where in the year 2000 there was 125 major new automobile types available. If you look at the miles per gallon for these vehicles, the distributions are roughly normal and the means and standard deviations are given in our chart below. So our first scenario that I'm asking about is we have a Lincoln Continental and it had a rating of 17 miles per gallon city and 24 miles per gallon highway. Which rating, city or highway, is higher compared to the other cars? So what we want to do is we want to get a Z-score. So we have, let's find the Z-score for the city. So the city was 17 miles per gallon. So this 17 is our value of interest. So we get 17 miles per gallon minus, well, what's the mean for city? 22.37. Divide by the standard deviation for city, which is 4.77. When I calculated that all out, I got negative 1.25. Alright, so that means it's 1.25 standard deviations below the mean. So what we want to do is I'm going to do a little drawing down here of our normal curve, and we're at 0 because we standardized, okay? Negative 1.25 is over here somewhere, so I'm just going to write negative 1.25. So now I have where city is. Let's see about the highway. So our highway information was 24 miles per gallon. That's our score of interest. So 24 minus the highway mean is 29.09. Divide by the highway standard deviation of 5.46. And when I do that, I get negative 0.93 for my Z-score. That means it's 0.93 standard deviations below the mean. Well, 0.93 is not as far out as negative 1.25. So somewhere in here, negative 0.93. Now the question asked, who did better? So even though they're both negative, this negative 0.93 is more positive. It's higher than the negative 1.25. So our highway was higher. Okay. So the next one is very, very similar. Now we have a Saturn SL. The company's not even in business anymore, but that's what we're talking about. It had a rating of 39 miles per gallon city. So back in 2000, this was a lot of miles per gallon. It was less common to have this going on. So 39 miles per gallon city, 43 miles per gallon highway. Which rating, city or highway, is higher compared to the other? So we want to do the same thing. So let's get our Z-score for our city. And our Z-score, our interest, score of interest is 39. Minus the mean for city, which is 22.37. Divide by the standard deviation for city, which is 4.77. And when I calculated that all out, I got 3.49 standard deviations. Hopefully you're remembering anything outside of 2 standard deviations is considered unusual. And now we're 3.5 standard deviations. This is really, really unusual to have this kind of gas mileage at that time. Our normal curve. So we're 0. I forgot to label. I don't want to get in trouble for not labeling. All right. 3.49 is way over here somewhere. I'll just label that 3.49. Now let's take a look at our Z for our highway. Our score of interest for highway was 43 miles per gallon minus the mean for highway, which is 29.09. Divide by the standard deviation for highway. And when I calculate that one out, it's still pretty good, 2.55. Okay, 2.55 is not as far as 3.49, so I'm going to put it like right here, 2.55. Now, who did better? That's what the question's asking. The 3.549 is much further to the right, so that's a better gas mileage. And so our city was better here. Okay, for our last question. question that's a little bit different, but let's see if we can figure it out. So the Mazda 626 had a city rating of 26 miles per gallon. What highway rating would it have to have so the city and the highway ratings were the same? So essentially what it's asking is, how can we make them have the same Z-score? Okay, so we want them to have the same relative position. So let's get our Z-score for our city. And so our score of interest was 26 miles per gallon. So we have 26 minus the mean for city, which is 22.37, divide by the standard deviation per city. When I calculated that out, I got 0.76. So I want to know what highway gas mileage do they have to have a 0.76 standard deviation. So I'm just going to say I want my answer to be 0.76. I am looking for some score to make that happen. So we're talking highway now, so I have to take that score minus the highway mean, divide by the highway standard deviation, and I got 33.24. So they would need to get 33.24 miles per gallon to be equal to the city, to be in the same relative position. So hopefully that clarified some of the questions. If not, there's office hours tomorrow afternoon. Let me know. Talk soon.